Good afternoon, guys. It is November 11th, 2022. On this video here, I want to address a few things that really have been bothering me um, in the vacuum cleaner community. And that is, here's one thing that I'm going to say. I understand that not everybody likes Kirby vacuum cleaners. I understand that they are not for everybody. I understand that they are not for every house. I understand that they are not everybody's preference. I completely understand that. I'm just going to clarify that going into this video. Because I don't want to hear people say, well, that's just your opinion. You just like the Kirby. Yes, part of it is my opinion, but I'm going to give you some hard facts here, too. Number one, there's quite a few misconceptions on Kirby vacuum cleaners. And one of those, excuse me, one of those is the fact that they are very high maintenance and very hard to maintain. That is not true at all. I don't care what you have to say. These are the most simple vacuum cleaners that you can get in terms of maintenance and service. Yes, there are some that are more simple than others, but there are it's pretty simple to maintain because all you have is a brush roll, a fan, and a belt, and then a bag. You don't even have extra filters on this, which some people say, well, that means it doesn't filter well. Well, it may not filter perfect, but I can tell you it filters way better than a cheap bagless piece of crap from Walmart. So, there you go. Now, another thing, and this has been just driving me nuts for so long, and that has to do with the weight. Now, I am going to say, before you comment, the weight is completely understandable for people who truly have an issue with the weight of a machine to carry. Okay, I completely understand that. 100%. I am not arguing with that. I am not denying that. And I am not ignoring that at all. But there are some people out there who they will go on and on and on and on and on and on about how heavy and how bulky and cumbersome the Kirby is. But yet, they don't talk about that when they're trying to sell their Miele S7 or their Hoover wind tunnel self-propelled or their SIBO an automatic X4 or X7 or whatever, they don't talk about the weights of those because those machines are very heavy as well. It's the same thing with people with their Kenmores. The Kenmore uprights, those weigh a ton. The Mila uprights, those weigh a ton. The, you know, the Hoover wind tunnel self-propelled, those were really heavy back then. I don't hear them griping about the weight on those machines. But when it comes to Kirby, they just say, oh, they're just heavy, they're just heavy, they're just heavy. That is absolutely true. These are heavy, they weigh a lot. Yes. I agree with you on that 100%. But you cannot have it both ways by saying, don't buy the Kirby because it's heavy and everything. And then you go turn around trying to tell people, buy this Mila S7 because it's better. And you don't address the weight of it because a Mila S7 Dynamic U1, whatever the heck it's called now, is just as heavy as a Kirby is, equally. And a Sibo for sure is just as heavy as a Kirby is in a lot of respects. I have actually picked up a Sibo upright vacuum, and they are pretty darn heavy. But I will say that a Kirby, yes, it's one of the most expensive when you look at them from a brand new purchase MSRP price. But these same people who are griping about the Kirby being so heavy and the Kirby being so bulky and so hard and so this and so that go turning around pushing the Sibos, the Milas, some of the Ricars and stuff that weigh just as much, and some of them cost just as much as a Kirby does. So it's basically in the same category. Yes, you have the setup where you have to take off the nozzle to attach the hose and stuff, but really in the grand scheme of things, if a customer doesn't mind doing that and they're interested in a Kirby, go ahead and buy the Kirby. Seriously. Buy a Kirby if you want a Kirby. I'm talking to the customer, and I'm not upset with the customer. I'm just upset with these people that are trying to sell vacuum cleaners and stuff. And if you don't want a Kirby, that is totally fine. You get whatever you want. But I hear people go on and on and on and on and on and on about the weight of the Kirby vacuums and how they're so heavy and how they are so difficult to lift and so difficult to maneuver and so difficult to operate and so difficult to function with. And they don't mention anything about that with the Milas, the Sibos, the Ricars and stuff. And honestly, some of those other machines are honestly more complicated than these Kirbys. I'm not saying that's necessarily wrong or that's necessarily a bad thing, but I'm just saying you've got to get it into perspective because The weight is an honest thing that I understand 100%. These are heavy, but so are some Kenmores. So are some Hoovers, some of those old Hoovers with the self-propelled. And so are the Miele Dynamic U1s. Those Miele Dynamic U1s, from what I've heard, weighs pretty much as a Kirby. The Cibo Automatic X series, those pretty much weigh just as much as a Kirby. I have personally lifted one of those. And you know what? It feels this exact same weight-wise as my Kirby's. Exactly the same. People, I just want you to know that anybody who keeps saying, well, don't buy a Kirby because it's heavy, don't buy a Kirby because it's heavy, and you don't mind the weight, and you want a simple machine, go ahead and buy the Kirby. Don't listen to these people who are, constantly saying, well, it's so heavy, it's so heavy, it's so heavy, but they don't say a word about the weight of a Miele S7 or of a Ricard Tandem Air Radiance or Brilliance or something, or a Cibo Automatic X series or something like that, because those all weigh pretty much the same as a Kirby. Yes, you have different features. Yes, you have different things that may be more convenient than others. But in reality, the choice is up to you. If the weight is not a big factor and you, if you are dead set on a Kirby, buy a Kirby. Buy a Kirby. Go. Do it. If you want it. If you don't want a Kirby, that is completely fine. I completely understand that. I'm not telling you that you have to buy a Kirby. I'm not telling you what to buy and what not to buy. I'm trying to clarify something that I've noticed, because I'm just thinking to myself, I watched somebody do a weight test and just, weighed all different Kirby models, and then he did the same thing with a Miele Dynamic U1, S7, and a few other machines, and they're pretty much the exact same weight. But yet, these people who are super techs out there and who, just push their brands that they want only, and they don't mention something about the weight, that's a red flag. There's something wrong with that. Because if they're mentioning the weight about one machine, but they're not mentioning the weight about another machine, I'm sorry, but I have no patience for that. And yes, weight is a big factor for people. I completely get that. I would not tell, let me see if I can get an example. If my grandmother were still around and she was, say, 85 years old, I would not tell her just go buy a Kirby or go buy something heavy that she can't use. No matter what it is, whether it's a Kirby, Whether it's a Mila, whether it's a Sibo, whether it's a Ricard, I don't care. There are certain machines that are just heavy, and I completely understand that. But again, like I said, people will go on and on and on and on and on and on about the Kirby. And they will not admit the heavy weight of the other machines that they're trying to push. Now, another thing is people tend to think that they're high maintenance, like I said. And really, in the grand scheme of things, maintenance-wise, these are a whole lot more simple. They are not high maintenance at all. In fact, they are one of the lowest maintenance machines that I think I have ever used. Changing the belt is one of the easiest belts to change because you have this belt lifter here that you just turn, and that does all the heavy lifting for you. What other machine has a belt change that simple? I can't think of any. And some people say, well, you gotta have a lifetime belt and stuff. Honestly, a lifetime belt versus a stretch belt, I really don't care. Yes, there are some that are crap, but there are some that are pretty darn good. And I will say that Kirby is pretty darn good with them. Some of the Hoovers had very long life belts and stuff, so it's very simple. You don't even have to pull on the brush roll to change this belt like you do with a lot of others. Another thing is the bag setup. Now, this is a constant gripe that I hear, and honestly, it's just an excuse. Because people say the bags are so expensive, and it depends on your definition, like, it depends on your budget, but I would say, for the most part, the bags are really not that expensive. You pay $15 for 6 bags, and each bag, at least in my house, even if I vacuum a lot, will last me 6 months. 6 months per bag. 2 bags a year. 2 bags a year. A lot of the other machines, you can't really go that long on a bag. The bags in the Kirbys are huge. Absolutely huge. And you have the HEPA certified bags. Not very much really gets through these, to be quite honest. And to be honest, these bags are fairly easy to change, because you can just release the tube, twist it off, or the newer ones have a little clip that you undo, pull it off, clip it back on. Nothing to it. Nothing to it at all. And so, but yet the people who sell the Milas and all the others, they require bags too, but they don't mind mentioning, oh, it takes bags. Stuff. You know? And like I said, I get that there are certain machines that are just crap. But Kirby's are no joke. I mean, these aren't just, you know, just a little machine that does whatever. It has incredible performance. Which leads me to my next thing that I'm going to mention. And I'll put that back in a little bit better later. But I'm doing it one-handed. Is tool performance. Now, this is something that I don't understand at all. Because some people say, well, the tools just don't have the greatest performance. Like, you know, a more powerful motor. Okay. I'm going to mention something right now. By far, I have noticed absolutely no difference at all in performance with tools on this Kirby versus my Eureka Mighty Mite, my Hoover Wind Tunnel, and so on. No difference whatsoever in performance. None. And take this nozzle off, and I'm going to show you. This fan right here is right after the hose. There is nothing in front of this fan at all. So everything that is in front of this is going to get incredible airflow and performance. And it's designed very, very well because it's not like it connects to the bottom of the nozzle here. It connects directly onto this gasket by attaching it onto this bar here, sealing it up, and then locking it down. That gives you so much more performance than a wide nozzle adapter on the old Eurekas and the old Hoovers and stuff. And not to mention that you have the safety switch here that's going to switch it over to a higher speed on the motor, which is going to pull more air anyway. And it's a rigid hose that is going to allow more air velocity through much better. It just is. Because with a stretch hose, it kind of messes it up because it wants to contract and stuff. But you have all kinds of attachments that are pretty darn efficient. If you ask me, I have vacuumed my couch, I have vacuumed my return vents, I have vacuumed my hard floors, I have vacuumed my refrigerator coils, I have vacuumed my dryer vent, I have vacuumed my car, I have vacuumed so much with these tools, and they have not once ever disappointed me. Not even slightly. So that's just kind of weird argument that I don't understand is the tool thing. And yes, I will admit that the conversion from floor to tools is not the most convenient. I completely understand that. I absolutely understand that. There's no arguing with that. There's no denying that. But from a tool performance standpoint, there's no difference in performance on the tools from any of the other machines that I've used in my life. Absolutely zero difference. Zero, none, zero, zilch. No difference at all. So I just wanted to come on here and kind of clarify some things because, I don't know. People just have these weird things, and I respect people's opinions. I respect what people like and don't like. I completely understand that. But you've got to look at it from all different angles, and you've got to compare stuff. Because these Kirbys are the same weight as some of the other ones, and these will last you an extremely long time. And I can tell you that a Kirby, most likely, I'm not saying that it will for sure, but most likely would probably outlive a Mila or something like that, just because it is so incredibly solid and strongly built. I have seen plastic break on Milas much easier than the metal on a Kirby. And I'm not saying that Milas are bad. I'm not saying that Milas are inferior to Kirbys at all. But you've got to look at it from all different perspectives and all kinds of different avenues. So anyway, I hope that was of some value and information. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos.